Hey, yeah, it's been a while since I think I've posted anything or really had time to even record some videos. But speaking of load orders, I did change mine around. I do have diverse wasteland in here, and it changes the height of the characters. Let me show you real quick. This is where I kind of applied all my changes. So, and I did a lot of stuff mid game. So all this stuff was what was in the manifest as far as installed or removed. All this was here. And then if you get down closer to the bottom, you can see where I started doing things midterm. And what I wound up doing is I had MAME, well, I had MAME 3, I had Pack Attack NPC, and I had Pack Attack Companion Edition. And I had True Damage. So I'm using Scourge to lower the health values of NPCs. So everything is, should have a lower health value. So they can't take as many hits. They're not bullet sponges, which I kind of like that. And that includes the player. So that's me too. And I don't know why ghouls can hit so hard, but God, like one of them could do this flying like smack and literally one shot me. I have no idea who even thought of that one. But I wanted to use Scourge to lower the health values, and I wanted to use True Damage. But True Damage required Spell Perk Distributor. I could not use that. It would crash when I would save an interior location and reload that save. It crashed. I don't know if that was a conflict with MAME 3. I couldn't find anything on the internet that would even help me figure it out. And I think the author of that is kind of hiatus for a while. I think he's on vacation or he's taking a trip or something. So it's probably going to be another 6-8 months before he even looks at it. So what I did is I swapped out MAME 3 for better locational damage. It's not as hardcore. MAME 3 is way more hardcore. I mean, you are constantly fighting bleed outs and broken bones and crippling, your limbs are crippled. It's a mess. It's difficult to get in a firefight and not have to do some kind of medical aid. I mean, you spend more time applying bandages and splints and IFAKs and all that stuff. And it's IFAK, which like heals limbs and it does all that stuff. You spend more time doing that than you actually do doing combat or exploring. So I thought, okay, I'm going to swap out MAME 3. So basically, it's my same load order. It does have Raider Gains Extended. It does have Diverse Wasteland. Now, what I had to do is I was getting stutters a lot. Like with Diverse Wastelands, I got stutters almost like every other cell load. And it looks like the game is going to crash, like where it freezes and then it'll CTD. But it didn't do that. It would freeze, stop, freeze, stop, freeze. That's where it's generating, it's recompiling or regenerating the face gen data for the NPCs, even though it existed. So I had XL in there. So once I downloaded the face gen files off the Nexus for Diverse Wastelands and a few other mods I don't have that problem anymore. Like there's no stuttering. I think I had like one stutter one time in literally like hours of gameplay. So that's going to be a necessity. That's going to be almost, I'm pretty sure if you do it, that's what I had to do here. I don't know I don't know who else used it if they had a similar problem. But you can see where I was, I took out MAME 3. I replaced better locational damage. I took MAME 3 out, replaced that with BLD, better locational damage. And then I put KIMFSO as opposed to Pack Attack, which is, it's a lot, it's more, I want to say it's more militarized behaviors. It adds new behaviors to its scripted behaviors. So it's constantly changing the scripting based on the, how the mod author coded the scripts to evaluate a given situation. So it's still using the same Bethesda scripts, but it's flipping them in and out as it, like at one point the NPC will run, another time it'll flank, other times it runs back to get help. So he flips. He has these basic behaviors that's coded into the game, and all you can do, all you're doing is flipping them. So you have certain variables that evaluate a situation, such as if you're in a building and you wipe out 2/3 of that building, everybody in that building is going to come after you. Like the whole building will come outside looking for you. Well, better locational damage doesn't do that. I do have AI combat evolved, and I decided to go with Chemfluence, and NPCs can use, I think NPCs use something. NPCs can use, I forget the actual name of the mod, but that way NPCs can actually use chems, and Chemfluence kind of affects the AI. So, and what I was shooting for is I wanted to remove the scripting from the game. I wanted to see if I could improve frame rates by removing some of the scripting, to see if I can narrow down that between frame margin when scripts are actually executed. So that's what all this stuff is over here. This is me adding and removing mods, and I still was adding mods. So here, I have to really take a look, but here you'd have to see, let's see, I'm not sure what this is. Okay, that's where I added category names. Actually, I wanted to add face gen. It was another category over here where I just, you just go in and you right click and you just say add category, and it'll insert it into your load order. And on a side note, I also include that in the plugin file. So if you take a look at the load order, let's grab this. You take a look at that, you'll actually see that as a comment line, I include the headers, so it's easy to break that down. So yeah, so BLD, better locational damage for main 3, and then Chemfluence and NPCs can use, as opposed to Pack Attack and Pace. Pace is really more for companions. I've added a lot more things other than just that. Let me see. Let's go down to the bottom here. Let's see, I've added, I tried changing the companions, but for some reason it's being overridden. Not really sure why. Let's see, what do we got? I had to add some, I've never used this framework, and I forget, it's like leveled list injection framework, I think. That one's brand new, and I am using the next gen, so I am using that still. Because I had to add the armors. I wanted to add Eli's armors to give a variety of armors to the Commonwealth. All right, let me bring this up real quick, and I will show you what it looks like. So I'm really trying to get better frame rates. It's pretty much the same load order I've always had. I've added Gormites, like little tick-like dudes. I've added, let's see, Raider Gangs Extended. I've added performance textures to see what that's going to do as far as the way it looks, gameplay-wise. I went with ZP's textures for vaults and ZP texture for buildings and stuff, because he has a tendency to darken the texture a little bit, changes some of the tone of, the vault so they're not so bright, because it almost looks cartoony. I've added a lot of weapons, nothing really major, but things that I might consider to be lore-friendly weapons. There's a mod called Worldwide Ghouls. It's really nice. It puts ghouls throughout the world, but it's like there's just a few here and a few there, and I really like that mod because it puts life in the wasteland. It actually has, as you're running around the wasteland, you got these big wide open areas, and it actually puts these ghouls. And then of course Diverse Wasteland changes the size, and I'm using Unleveled World. So it can spawn anything from level 1 up to level 100, or as high as it goes. I mean, it literally can span anything. Let's go to, let me go to Sanctuary here. And let's get out of, we'll go to Red Rocket. I'm trying to get out where it's not so laggy. It's still super, super, super laggy. At least downtown Boston it is. And I know that's really commonplace, but, and I'm even using PRP, so it's the width of the screen is like ultra wide. It's 32 by 9. So I might try, just for the fun of it later on, I might change the interface to 21 by 9 and then change the resolution, so it's still 21 by 9. I can get a clear sky here. Yeah, this is still trying to load. Let's see. You've got, but there's different weapons. I've got. This is actually kind of cool. It's like a plas rail, and it does. That's the disc shooting. I think that's Cross's plas rail. I do have cross crit gore, I think, where when things actually, let me get up. Let's get this up. Where when humanoids like a super mutant or a ghoul or a human dies, it actually, if they gooify, instead of leaving a goo pile on the ground, it'll actually put like this armor on them, and then it'll show like bones, and it changes the way that dead bodies look. I have I'll show you the character. I still have Backpacks of the Wasteland, as you can see, and that is classic holstered weapons. This is this is Tactical Lights, which lets you make wearable headgear. And then I still have, if you can see it on her eye, I still have the Westech goggles. So, and you can change the color of the lights to like blue or something, and I like that idea as opposed to a Pip-Boy, because the light is directional. See, it goes wherever your head goes. So if you look away for some reason, that's where the light, it follows your head. It's like, it basically, it's a mining helmet that is redone to look like a tactical helmet. Let's see. I've already cleared all this stuff out. This stuff is all cleared. I do have interactive animations now. So if you go to interact with something, I put this in. So it does interact with whatever the object is. And it's pretty programmable. Like, it's really, really programmable. And I've got it set so I don't want to interact with bodies. So I see, so that's why you have the normal looking selection menu there. Some areas are much better than others as far as, loading goes. Let's go down inside here and I'll show you underneath just one area. So let's go down here. But I couldn't keep the thing. When I went in an interior location, I couldn't keep spell perk distributor, because it just would crash when I reload, and I'd have to get out of the building without actually dying, and that's next to impossible. But I still have a couple weird little bugs, which I'm pretty sure is a mod conflict somewhere. But I do have reshade. You can see the reshade shaders. I'm using some different shaders. I tried Marty's Mods, MXAO. You can actually see a slight little change in the color. Vibrance, again, a slight little change. You can see the blues. This kind of darkens everything up a little bit. I kind of like that look. And then you have the contrast again. It's almost like a see how it looks fuzzy, and it actually kind of makes it pop a little bit. And HDR to me is like it's like a tone map, but it's not so much a tone map. It actually, if you think of it programmatically, so if you look at left being 0, let's say left is totally black, it's pitch black. So RGB is 000, and to the far right is pure white, 255, 255, 255 for RGB. Then what it's doing is it's the closer you get to those two extremes, the faster it's ramping up. So in a sense, the darker the area, the darker it gets. The darker the area, the darker the pixels are moving towards 000. Towards the more you darken the pixel, the farther you are to that far extreme 000 left, the faster it gets dark, and therefore it provides this inverse bell curve, if you want to call it that. But that's what this looks like, and so far it's been really, really stable. This is just a test, though. I did remove mods out of this, some of them pretty major. So I do expect, the ghouls got in Diamond City and they wiped out a whole bunch of residents. So I actually brought them back. It wouldn't let me disable and then resurrect, and then re-enable, because they had body parts blown off. And it wouldn't let me do that, so I had to recycle the actor. Of course, when I did, they're all running around in their underwear. They had no weapons. So one time I went back into Diamond City, it literally crashed. Like it literally crashed. I'm guessing, that would be my guess, is that somehow it's just a janked up NPC. They're all fine now, so I don't know what the difference is. Like, how come they just didn't stay running around like nudists? I mean, half of Diamond City was nudists. So it was, at least they didn't die in vain. You know, I brought them back. So, but they all look fine now, and I think they all have their regular clothing. So I'm not really sure, because when I went into the console and did like a show inventory, it didn't really show anything there to equip. I mean, there was nothing there. So Recycle Actor, for some reason, didn't automatically generate clothing, but it did when it reloaded the cell. So I thought that was kind of strange. But I do have that in there. And I am trying kind of a different. This is kind of like a different. It's not as difficult. It's like a different combat system. I also have. Oh God, it's called fatigue. I have fatigue in here. So if you notice, on the fatigue bar over to the left, as I hold my weapon, see how it goes down? My AP goes down. So in other words, the less strength I have, the more effect a heavier weapon is going to have on me. Like if I watch the Plazrail. So this thing is a heavy weapon. So if I was to aim with this, it really starts to go down. So this is so it's kind of nice, because it's kind of like I think what he does some kind of ratio comparison, which is weight of the weapon compared to your strength value, and that's how he generates drain. And it comes back, but it's nice because you can't sit there and hold this forever. You know, you have to kind of be a little more tactical, and that's why I was trying to move more towards trying to get the frame rate up, so that, and these are binoculars. These are kind of like where you could scope something out if you choose to. I think you can put airstrikes on these things. The only thing I don't see a mod for now is where I can, like, if I'm zoomed in, basically it thinks I have a scope, is what I think binoculars do, because it treats it as a weapon. It actually is just a weapon. But you can't fire it. See, I'm trying to fire it and it doesn't. But if you scope it, you press the scope button, that's what it does. But I can't variable zoom. So if I went to, let's say, a hunting rifle, I can't variable zoom in and out. I'm actually moving the scroll wheel, but I can't zoom it. So that kind of bites. But that's like an F4SE mod that is not quite there yet. I've seen some information about Fallout 4 perhaps getting an update. I hope they fix whatever this loading problem is, where for some reason objects aren't fully loading. I thought maybe that might have to do something with long load time fix, because I'd seen there was a guy on the net, his name was Pancuronium, and he used to have these mod battles, really funny. I mean, this guy was like, he snarked everything, like he snarked himself. It was just, it's funny listening to it, but you know, anyways. He said that his textures were blurry. They weren't loading fully in with long load time fix. So that meant that the engine was not recognizing something. There was something it wasn't recognizing. So I wonder if we could do I could probably do a clear skies on this, but there was something it wasn't recognizing. So it didn't recognize an event or something where it didn't fully load the textures. And I thought, well, I wonder if that's part of the problem with, because I thought one of the mods that I had installed, I don't have long loading times fixed. I don't believe I do. Let's see. We'll take a look here. I'm pretty sure I don't. Yeah, I do not. And I only have 3. I got 4. I've got, see, that's the BLD helper. That one's not quite converted. That one came with buff out. That, the mod author, no, I completely disabled that. I've disabled the spell perk distributor. I don't know what the problem is with that. And this one, the power tools, of course, is not updated, and that's the survival status widget. Those are the things that in this particular interface, it's over to the left where you see my health and my AP. There's 3 boxes. That's supposed to contain your your survival widgets. But the widgets don't work for NG. The DLL doesn't work for NG, therefore it doesn't update the widgets. So it doesn't put them on the screen. But let's see here. I'll just go ahead and this is an Institute weapon. This is an Institute weapon. It's an Institute plasma. It comes with Institute of Technology overhaul, which is really, really nice. This is SKK 76 loot. So what it does, it highlights enemies that I hit, and also you see where it gives me Institute fusion cells. That's what this weapon uses. So this weapon is configured to use Institute fusion cells, and I have it set to drop ammo. I have it set to drop ammo that is loaded by this weapon. It doesn't work for some modded weapons. I think for the combat rifle I had it modded to use 306, and I think I had the hunting rifle, which or 308, and then the hunting rifle, which was 308, I had it modded for 50 cal, and it did not give me 50 cal bullets when I shot stuff. It gave me 308. It gave me the base weapons ammunition as opposed to its modded value. So that was I wonder if I can clear this out. Let's see. So this will kind of give you a quick brief. I don't want to make this video too long, but this is what I have in here now. It'll take a second to load because MCM takes a while. And if it takes too long, my program actually will say, wow, this thing hasn't moved in like, I think I got it set for 60 seconds. I can go in and change it, but it should pick up here, hopefully. And you can see, if not, it will actually, my application will kill the program because it thinks it's, the reason I did that is it thinks it's locked up, and God knows why Bethesda made it so that you cannot get back to your desktop if the thing is fried. But see, there's a cap widget that puts little cool things on there. Fall UI. Enjoy the darkness. It lets me sneak. You got to turn all this stuff off, though, because when you turn on your flashlight, it actually gives you a whopping dose of radiation. That took me a while to figure out because I didn't really read this. I thought, oh, Enjoy the Darkness is a good sneak mod. I'll throw it in there. I'm assuming it's going to work like regular sneak. Then I started using my flashlight. My radiation was going nuts. And I'm like, whoa, where's this coming from? Didn't even think of the flashlight. And then finally, I looked at that and I thought, wait a minute. You know, it's radiation. I think it's a setting up here which is something like radiation or something. Overheating, rads. It's somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, radiation multiplier. And I thought, oh, that's what it must be. So I fixed that. I like Feral Knights. Ghouls come out at nighttime. So, you know, normally nighttime, you think, okay, I got a stealth mod in. Nighttime, you're invulnerable. No. I put Feral Knights in, so that does give me some extra things to fight. Feral infestations, that will actually cause feral ghouls to accumulate someplace. It'll give you a quest to go clear them out. If you don't clear them out, they just start building up, and then they will attack a settlement, just like a regular settlement attack. Floating damage, that's just where it just shows little damage numbers flying off stuff. That one does work, which doesn't interfere with, that does not interfere with, oh god, I gotta think. I'd probably need more coffee, but it doesn't interfere with, yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Okay, so we have grab and eat. I put that in there so if you see armor laying on the ground, if you scroll over it, you can pick it up, or if you do R for like eating it, like, you know, if it's food, it'll eat. If it's a chem, you'll use it. Like a stim pack, you'll use it. If it's like a holotape, you'll play it or load it into your Pip-Boy. Or if it's like armor, you will put it on. You'll automatically equip it. And that way you can scroll, you know, when you scroll over something, it'll give you like the stats of it. I like that. I'm going to put that on. That way you don't have to put it in your inventory, then open up your inventory, and then equip it. You can just do it right when it's laying on the ground. You just, instead of pressing E to pick it up, you press R and you pick it up and you equip it. Immersive Animation Framework does this. So if I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to do like Radaway. Let's see, where's Radaway? Like if I'm going to do Radaway, or it does this. See how it, and I changed the way the chems look. So it actually animates things. It animates when I eat. Let's see. Do I have anything that's even food that's not poison? Crustacean meat, Deathclaw, ghoul meat, Instamash. Surely I got something that's cooked. Oh, well. Let's do Yum Yums. Okay. So, yeah, it looks more like noodles, but see, it kind of gives you little animations for things. So that's immersive animations. Let's bring this back up. All right, so we have immersive animations, interaction animations. That's when you interact with an object. It'll show you reaching out to check it out. And I thought that would add a little, nice little touch to the gameplay. Instead of just going in and burning a place down, now when I go to interact with something, I have to sit through just a short little animation. And if I time it wrong, I will get jumped during that animation process. Karma, I'm testing this one out. Just throw it in there. It actually gives me karma points if I do good and bad things. I always play like a good character. I can't really get into bad characters. It just doesn't interest me. I just, kill. I got kill tips and hit sounds. That's just something up at the top that makes a noise and throws a little thing up that says, my character, quote quote, took something out. There's that leveled. It fixes, but it actually injects stuff. I've never had this in my load order, so I've never had it, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. Minimal minimap. That's the thing up at the top. You see the top right hand corner up here that shows like a radar, and you can configure it to be square. I've got mine circle. Munitions adds different ammunition. NPC. That's Chemfluence and NPC. Those are the ones. This is the one that I put in here that I'm testing out. You can actually say Brotherhood uses them and Minutemen, but it's turned off by default, and I think because they figure Minutemen don't pump up on drugs. Persistent volume sliders, that just gives me more volume sliders to do it, to turn the volume up and down on different things, other than what it extends what the game gives you. Level up menu. The quick modify weapons, I tried to add the backpack. Well, I went to add the backpack, and when I put it on, that actually froze my screen, so I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the mesh or I'm pretty sure it's the mesh somehow. I'll have to take a look at it. And then there's, I had survival configuration. I haven't played it yet, but it is coming because I want a game that's fairly stable, and it looks like it's going to be stable from now on. I haven't gone in to make a new character yet, because oftentimes when you add mods in the middle of the game, and you're like, oh, this works, and then you go back and start a new game, weird stuff happens. And I have unleveled world now, so it's F4SE, so it literally, at level 1, it can spawn a level 40 radioactive rad roach, which will one-shot me at level 1. So I thought I'd try it and see. Headshots, better locational damage does have headshot options, so everything can be headshot. Now, with MAME, you can set whether coursers can be headshotted, whether ghouls have to be headshotted. You can actually say a ghoul won't die unless you headshot it. So you can do things like that, where better locational damage doesn't have those options. It's more just kind of a blanket headshot thing. And then it puts a little icon down at the bottom over here. I moved it down there. It's over here by default, and I moved it way over here. And so when you bleed out, it does have a bleed out mechanic. It's not as hardcore as MAME 3. That one is a struggle. But it's actually better. And I've actually had more fun with this now because I actually can enjoy the game. And I'm playing on normal difficulty. So I could switch over to survival difficulty, or even make it very hard to make it even tougher. I can go in through game configuration menu up here if I want to. If you put this in, I can go into here and I can change the difficulty. I can change incoming damage levels, outgoing damage levels. I can change a lot of different things. See how it says damage done? So in normal, I can say that damage done, I can double it or triple it. Damage taken for me, I think this is me doing damage, that's me taking damage. So on normal, it's 1-to-1, but I can say I can take 2-to-1 if I want. So there's different ways you can tweak it, which is what I think Bethesda tried to do in a very global way. However, you can't. It's kind of like when it comes to playing the game, I think they made the mistake of thinking that you can tweak intelligence, because I don't mean intelligence for the NPC or a person, but to make the game look cohesive and intelligent, you can't tweak that with global variables. You have to put the code in the game. Let's see what I got. A Scourge. Scourge actually normalizes the health on all the NPCs. So there's no bullet sponges in the game. If I wind up getting a level 100 raider, he will have the exact same health as unless health can go with strength or with endurance. So if both of them are level 10, a level 1 raider, if I understand it correctly, a level 1 raider that has 10 endurance will have the exact same amount of health as a level 100 10 endurance raider, because it normalizes the health across the board. Therefore, I can take him out with a level 1 pipe rifle. If I give him a headshot, and you can configure with headshots how much damage mitigation you want a helmet to have. So you can lower it or raise it if you want to make headshots tougher. In MAME 3, you can actually set it so you cannot headshot in VATS. Better Locational Damage doesn't have that, and I actually like the simplicity of it, to be honest. See-through scopes, that lets you doesn't like bring the whole screen forward. It kind of does, but you can actually see your rifle and what's around you. It's a little bit different. Settlement visitors. This is the one I was talking about. This one actually puts settlement visitors in, the settlement. It has rabbits, cats, and it's nice because it gives the settlement a very, very organic feel. It looks like it's lived in. Another one I think you'll like is, let me see, What's Your Name? I'll show you that in here just a second. But I added snappy house kits, stealth takedowns. I haven't played like a melee character, so I haven't really got to try that. Combat stalkers, they will actually hunt you down. Settlement attack system helps to control settlement attacks. I think it works so that if there is a settlement attack, they won't attack until you get there, so you don't have to hurry up and rush back or anything like that. True Storms, we know what that one is. Universal Disassembler, we know what that one is. Unlimited Fast Travel, I put that in. Unlimited Survival Mode, which lets you sleep and save and fast travel in survival mode. I haven't used it yet. I'm just kind of curious. I threw it in there to test. West Tech I've got, and of course, Wheel Menu, Active Effects. That's puts when I do something over here. When I do something over here, you can see over there where it's got the little white things, Radaway. That's Active Effects on HUD. You can move it around wherever you want it. And in, let's go this way. So let's go to Sanctuary real quick. Wait, I was already there. What am I doing? We'll go back to Red Rocket. That's fine. We'll just fast travel. And I'm going to show you What's Your Name. It's kind of interesting because I can ask, it has a list of 200 names. It doesn't do last names. It's probably not as comprehensive as Seriously Don't Call Me Settler, but I can't run that one because that requires Lighthouse Papyrus, and that is not updated for next gen. So I'm kind of limited to what I can use. I think he uses F4SE, so it might be possible. I think the reason that Lighthouse was chosen is because it allows for an XML list to be imported, where F4SE just lets you rename, and I think he hard-coded them in the program. But let me see if I can show you this real quick. Okay, you see where it says Gunner Visitor? This is what visitors do. See how it's got recruit and talk to them? And let's see if I can find the little rabbit. This thing right here, you can recruit rabbits. The dog I actually bought. But this little thing right here, see where it says, I recruited him. And notice how he has a name, Cody. So let me recruit one of these guys and I'll show you. Okay, see where it says, Settler, not that one. Let's go back to one that needs to be recruited. Oh, look at him. He's doing a moonwalk. Alright. You see how they got names like Settler? He doesn't have one. Let me see. This one will. Okay. So you see how it says Gunner Visitor? Okay, so I'm going to do an R to recruit. I'm going to send him to Red Rocket. Now, see how his name changed to Wright? So it actually assigns names to him. Now, with Settlers, there's supposed to be a way to...
Let's trade.
Okay.
To do his name, but I think I have it set to F1. So I've got it hotkeyed to F1. So if I press F1, does it work? Does it work? Yeah, see, it changed his name to Ali. So that's what What's Your Name does. And it basically recycles between like 250 names. And that way you can rename rabbits and stuff. Like this one, we're going to rename her to... Alright, we did it. Let's see, let's get back. Come on, there you go. Her name is Kelly. Took a minute for it to... Let's rename him. See what it gives him. Alright, there you go. His name is Lee. I don't have to move on and off the character. It just takes a moment. Probably script lag because you can tell it's a little bit laggy here. But yeah, that's what this... Okay. No, I'm good. Not today.
Not interested.
Let me know if that changes.
Seemed kind of rude. Alright, so let's add her name. Did it work? There you go. Her name is Rhiannon. Okay. So see, that's what's your name. And that way you can just... And when you recruit them, it does it automatically, which he may himself do that. But that's that. So, yeah, I have diverse in here. I've got diverse wasteland. I wanted to put improved factions. One of the last things I want to do is put improved factions, improved hostile factions, but I kind of I looked at it and it looks a little bit complicated, so I need to make sure I don't want to add too many variables to my load order just yet, so that way I can kind of test what I have. And plus I haven't got to build I really haven't got to build settlements in a while, so I added some stuff in my workshop to where I can go in and build settlements and kind of just, you know, kind of have a little bit of variety in gameplay. But things stack out pretty quick. This actually stacks out pretty quick. I don't know what to do with this yet. This is still a little bit too many objects in here. It's a little bit too laggy for my taste, because once it's got all these dudes and all these wires and everything, it starts to take a hit. And I don't think it's not a GPU issue, it's a game engine issue, because the GPU is not 100% utilized, and it's not even CPU bound, because the CPU still has plenty of headroom. I think that's that cat I recruited. Let's see if we can recruit one.
Yes.
Nope, I recruited that one. How about this one? There we go. So we're gonna do an R. We're gonna put it in Sanctuary. Yep, we're gonna confirm it, and it's got the name Valentina. So, yeah, that's that. So I thought you might be interested in kind of those mods, just to kind of give it a shot and see what you think. And God, almost 500 mods. That's killer. I cannot imagine that. I can't even believe the game still runs, let alone anything else. All right, well, I'm gonna hop here, and I'm probably gonna go just kind of park it. Still working on getting everything rearranged. I've got the bulk of it done. I got the layout of at least 2/3 of the house like I want it, so I've got a little bit more work. I definitely have the garage is one thing I'm definitely I'm definitely trying to avoid that at all costs. That's going to be a mess, but that's still on tap, so I don't get to do as much coding or don't get to do as much debugging as I normally do, but it's all still there, and it'll all happen. I just have to free the time up. So all right, yeah, looks good. Amazing job on the 400 something mods. You've got. I remember when you had a couple hundred, or at least 100. Now you've almost you've quadrupled that. So that's amazing, amazing job. All right, I'm gonna hop off here, and I'll probably play Fallout 4 a little bit just to relax and just have some fun. I'll check back in a little bit later and see what's going on. I do still take time to do it, and when I get more time, I'll kick back into the when I have more available time, I'll kick back into the typical internet stalker, where you just hang out on the forums just waiting for something to pop up just so you can say something. But yeah, all right, have fun, and good job on the game.